Pro tip for all you would-be YouTube content creators. The best time to do a review for a game is when no one gives a shit about that game anymore. Welcome everybody, thank you so much for coming by. My name is Redbeard Flynn. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/RedbeardFlynn, Thursday 7 p.m. CST, Sunday 4:30 p.m. CST. Come say hi. For this video, we're going to be reviewing the multiplayer aspects of Dark Alliance. Before we get too far into this review of the multiplayer co-op aspects of Dark Alliance, I want to stress that my experiences from this game happened before the release of patch 1.16, which, while super vague, did at least address some of the issues I have in this video. The patch notes are as follows: improvements to multiplayer latency. Voice chat remains enabled after returning to Kelvin's cairn. Improvements to camera lock-on. Improvements to user interface. Improvements to teleporting attacks made by enemies. Instances where progression is blocked when a player respawns as a boss dies has been fixed. Balance changes and tethering improvements. The patch notes have understandably been ragged on for being vague as hell. Even after playing solo for a while, I can't really say just how much the camera lock-on has improved or how. I can't really say if it's more balanced or if there are improvements to tethering, which, spoiler, is a major issue in multiplayer. I can say it's at least improved. See, I can be vague too. So, like with the solo video of Dark Alliance, these are my first thoughts. I believe earlier I called it a review, but really it's the first thoughts about the game. I cannot in good conscience say that this is a full review, because I think in Dark Alliance I've probably at this point maybe put in 15, maybe 20 hours in the game, and I mean that's getting closer and closer to being able to give a thorough review, but we're not there yet. So I will eventually do a full wrap up of the whole thing and give a review with the patches included and everything like that. So we'll start with the positives. The game plays entirely different with others. In a lot of ways, it feels like an action MMO. So many times I found myself calling for heals or rezzing, and that's not just because I sucked. Maybe a little bit. But I was also dictating where I was going to be or who I was fighting. I was communicating pretty constantly with the people I was playing with, and I was lucky enough to be playing with 3 people. We worked with our ultimates in concert and overcame tough challenges together. In that sense, it was a tremendous amount of fun, but I can't say how much of that was the game and how much of that was just playing co-op with friends. My first thoughts are really in 2 parts, as we started one mission that was wildly overpowered for our meager gear, and we quickly discovered this. It is also became apparent that the relative strength of characters at base level is not balanced. As Wolfgar, I felt like more a liability than help. Drist was an asset, but far and above, the only reason we even beat the mission was Caddy Bree. Part of this was due to tethering issues we'll discuss more later, but it was also because as a ranged, they were able to avoid a lot of the dangers we were experiencing with our suboptimal dodging. True to the design philosophy of the game, you at times feel heroic and badass. Other times you feel like a sack of potatoes recently run over by a city bus. They wanted you to experience the edge of a knife story where you are epic, but one bad step can be a George R.R. Martin level twist of disaster. I think they are inching toward that lofty goal, but there's still some work to do. Gear, Leveling and talent trees do feel rewarding and not overwhelming. Overall, I felt satisfied with the game after several hours of play, which is a credit to it despite some of the very noticeable warts. Some of these were apparent in single player, while others were wholly new and even potentially game-breaking in multiplayer. More about that after the break. Oh, Dark Alliance, why won't you let me love you? I want to love you. I really do, but then you go and let Caddy Bree single-handedly save the party because of horrific tethering. I say this knowing that it has been improved in the latest patch, and it's not something I've been able to experience yet, something I'll need to explore when I have time to devote another 5-hour plus session. But during this stream, which was well after release, the tethering was absolutely broken and it should never have been released that way. As much as I want to appreciate the game for what it is, it's hard to ignore the giant elephant in the room who's ignoring you while you throw bombs at it. Or perhaps worse, attacking your companion's mashed up corpse long after it's turned to paste. Dark Alliance, please, a dead companion shouldn't be your answer to lack of CC in the game. Balancing issues also remain a high priority for fixing, which they do allude to in their patch, but I believe this will take time. Like in any co-op environment, because you want each class to feel unique, but also balanced. It's not fun to feel less useful than the rest of your party. Who wants to sit around apologizing for being carried? On the other side, while there may be brief moments of unbridled joy at the sheer ferocity with which you destroy content while the rest of your party suffers, they will surely hit you in the Achilles with, "It's because your class is OP," should you show too much hubris. This is even worse when you take into account that you are locked into one per class or character per co-op. If Drist is OP and Brunor sucks, someone still has to play Brunor if you're maxing out your party. And finally, my last negative, just a quick comment on experience and gear. This was in both the positives and the negatives, because as I alluded to, it is satisfying and not overly complicated, but I do worry the lack of complication will lead to stagnation. There are only so many skills and gear sets to go through, but worst of all may be how much you are rewarded for jumping beyond your level. We defeated a difficulty several ranks above what we should have, mostly due to tethering issues, and we were rewarded with 8 levels and insane loot upgrades. Yes, harder challenges should grant greater rewards, but let's not skip that much of the game over just one mission. That's not what these sort of games are for. So, the final thoughts on my experiences so far, specifically in multiplayer Dark Alliance. In the end, I was content with my experience. I have not felt a driving urge to return to the game, which is not a good thing, but I haven't gone and uninstalled it in a fit of rage either. I want to see it grow and expand, and I want to finish the story. I am still ecstatic over this being a game made from books that are so beloved to me, and the world and characters will always bump up the score a little in my rankings. For multiplayer, I give Dark Alliance a 6 out of 10. If you watch my video where I gave solo play a 7 out of 10 and you're surprised that multiplayer is higher, it's probably because the nostalgia hadn't worn off yet and I was overly generous with that solo player score. If I reassess that score, I might drop solo play to 5 out of 10 instead of 7 out of 10. There was a definite increased level of enjoyment in just playing the game with your friends. It brings back a little bit of that whole like the nostalgic memories for people my age of sitting on the couch playing with games with friends, co-op games which were much more prevalent but are slowly starting to come back into the fold. It was fun. It was a lot of fun to be able to to play a game with a common goal together. We have so many games out now that are, you know, play on like first person shooters that are co-op arena based games, but we don't have many that are work with your party, especially not in a first person shooter, towards a common goal. And I think that's a really cool thing to see. They are coming out more and more now, and I hope this trend continues. I hope some of the issues that Dark Alliance has faced does not make companies shy away from these co-op games. Things like Divinity Original Sin 2, Baldur's Gate 3, those games have shown how well you can do when you make the game co-op and you build parts of the game around that co-op. Dark Alliance is very clearly built that way. In all of their marketing, they're talking about playing with other people. It is not meant to be a solo game. Another recent game, which I actually have not had the chance to play yet, is I believe it's called Hood. That's another game where it is built around co-op missions where you go in and work with your friends to accomplish things. I really hope that stays as a common game development. In the end, I have not given up on Dark Alliance, and I don't think you should either. Devs are listening, and they're working to make a game worthy of its $40 price tag. If you want to play as Drist, Catti-brie, Wolfgar, and Brunor, well, venture forth into the lands of the Icewind Dale with open eyes, willingness to look past the edges, and take solace in that books have come to life. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It means the world to me. And if you have any of your experiences, if you want to tell us a little bit about what it was like for you playing post-patch, I would love to hear what your experiences have been while playing. Did you have completely different experiences than I did? It's entirely possible that I experienced bugs and issues that you did not. I would love to hear about your playthrough and what you thought of Dark Alliance. Please leave it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.